This is your WCIA 3 forecast first.
We've got some snow and rain and sleet and ice falling across the area right now. Here it's lunchtime, 12 o'clock on the dot. We look in Champaign. There's a mix of snow flurries now starting to mix on in with some sleet and freezing rain across the area. We've been seeing those changes happen on our storm tracker Doppler out there. If you take a look at that here, you'll see that over the last couple of hours, things have been filling on into the region here. Still some rain to the south towards I-70, some of it heavy snow and even some heavy sleet into the area. Now, we're going to talk about all of that as our winter storm is here in central Illinois. We're going to talk about what we expect through the rest of the day today with the bitter cold air on the way tonight and into tomorrow. Good news. Warmer weather is on the way with some sunshine. We'll briefly mention that in the 7-day forecast as well. WCIA 3 News starts right now.
You're watching your local news leader. This is WCIA 3 News at noon.
So as Jacob just mentioned, heavy rain is coming down across central Illinois, and it started overnight and continues this morning, as you might have noticed, but that's just the beginning. We thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. I'm Matthew White.
And I'm Karina Rubio. Now, this winter storm is throwing a bit of everything at us, which is why we're bringing you team coverage this afternoon. Meteorologist Jacob Dickey is in the studio, and Jack Griffin is in the storm tracker. Our head meteorologist, Kevin Leidy, is out there live in Champaign. First, we're going to go ahead and check in with Jacob. Now, things are only going to progress throughout the day here, Jacob.
Yeah, that's right. We talked about how for the morning hours, things would look okay, but that's very deceptive because things are already transitioning now very quickly with deteriorating conditions across the area. Last night near midnight, we were in the 50s out there. It's 32 right now in Champaign. We're seeing freezing rain, sleet, and even some snow into the area, and that's going to continue for us here. Notice the wind chill values down into the teens. That will be a factor for us as we go throughout the day today, especially into tonight and tomorrow morning. Here's a look at current temperatures. Notice we've got 20s in the I-55 corridor. There's some heavy snow over there. Still rain, though, down by I-70 in the middle. A mix of freezing rain, sleet, and snow out there. Storm tracker Doppler giving us a very good look at it here. See that purple area showing the freezing rain transition now setting up over Champaign County. Some very heavy snow also showing up to the north and west of town towards Route 9 and Illinois 136, even to the west towards Clinton. As we slide to the south and west of them towards Springfield now, there's some snow there. Jacksonville actually had a report of a half inch of snow in 20 minutes. Snowfall rates are 1 to 2 inches per hour. Do want to mention also that we'll be seeing some of that rain continuing down by I-70. Some of that rain there is heavy at times. They may add another inch or two with some flooding concerns in that area. Lots going on right now with the rain, the sleet, and the snow. One of the big things we want to talk about is those road conditions. That's why we have meteorologist Jack Griffin in the storm tracker now. He's been out in things, taking a look at how the roads are doing. Jack, we've heard from IDOT, we've heard from Illinois State Police of numerous crashes along I-55 with deteriorating road conditions. Tell us what you're seeing right now.
That's right, Jacob. So I'm in the storm tracker. I'm on I-74 westbound. I'm approaching the Highway 136 exit here, and we are going much slower now than posted speed limits. Usually you're going around 30-35 miles an hour. Really, on my drive so far between Mahomet and Mansfield was when things really began to fall apart in terms of the conditions. By Farmer City, we had snow, and as you can tell now, I've got very heavy snow covering both lanes, and we've now transitioned from that sleet that I could hear hitting the windshield now to straight snow. So this is straight snow that I have now on my cameras. And again, we're watching everybody moving very slowly as we are traveling northbound or northwest on westbound I-74. So we are in McLean County currently. Again, very poor road conditions already as expected. We knew that this was going to happen, that it was going to be really falling and really deteriorating very quickly once we go into the afternoon hours. And so we're going to keep on monitoring things very slowly and safely as we always do in our storm tracker. But again, just wanted to give you guys an update from the storm tracker on I-74 westbound. We're going to send it back to you, Jacob, in the studio.
All right, thanks, Jack. You can see those road conditions, how the lanes are becoming partially to totally covered here. IDOT is reporting lots of problems out there, and it is a very quick transition from little to nothing to some serious problems out there. Look at this, all along I-55 towards even Ford and Iroquois County. We've got totally covered roads out there, and the transition to the south and east is happening very quickly into the region. Not only do we have to talk about the snow, but we also need to watch those winds. We've got some very gusty winds out there. A lot of the wind causing reduced reduced visibility across the region. Sustained winds of 20 to 30 miles an hour are in place today, and that may cause some problems for us here as we move through the rest of the morning into the afternoon. Do want to mention the big thing we want to note is, yes, there's a snowfall map that's out there. We'll take a look at those updated numbers for you coming up later, but I want to mention with the impacts here specifically, regardless of the roads and travel, it doesn't matter how much snow we get. That's going to be really a problem. That worst time now starting late a.m. now into the afternoon when they're seeing those conditions deteriorate. So those highest totals are going to be north of I-72 and 74 into the area. And we'll still see snow and even ice with a quarter-inch possible, causing slick spots, especially underneath the snow into the region. So that's something that we're going to watch and keep an eye on. Also, can't forget about the flooding. We've had some areas south towards I-70 have 2 to 3 inches of rain overnight. They may get another inch or two of rain before the freezing rain, sleet, and snow transitions over that far to the south. Now, more about the impacts here. Chief Meteorologist Kevin Leidy is in the weather garden. We've been seeing some ice accumulation with some photos that have come in, Kevin. Lots of sleet and snow. Really, the impacts are going to be the big message from this storm.
Yeah, really is going to be kind of a big issue here over the next few hours. We're going to be dealing with this. We are out in the weather garden here. You can already see, just take a look at these tree limbs here that we've got. You can see the ice, okay? You can see just a little bit of a glaze of ice that we already have on the trees that are out here. And this is from the freezing rain that we have seen here throughout the course of just the past few hours. We have seen things transition from rain, and as temperatures fall, we've got the little bit of ice that is here. I will say this, though, in just the past 5 minutes, we've had a little bit of a mix of some sleet getting in here as well. And so the reason and the way that you can figure out whether it's freezing rain or sleet pellets will bounce. You can just put your arms out and they'll kind of bounce off of you or bounce off the ground. So we're starting to see that transition even here from the ice of freezing rain to sleet. And I'm going to tell you, in about an hour, it is going to be absolutely coming down in Champaign with big snowflakes. So again, we've got ice now, changing to sleet. In an hour, it's going to look really white. We'll send it back to you in the studio there for now.
Yeah, Kevin, we continue to await that transition to snow here in town. And once it happens, we already have some ice underneath here, so we'll be watching our camera network. This is the look at Neal Street now. Roads look okay, but as those temperatures continue to drop, that's going to cause more of those conditions to deteriorate. Do want to mention real quick, the Winter Storm Live blog is online right now. We've been keeping it updated here into the region, and that's something that we're going to keep you updated with. IDOT conditions and more are on there. We'll update that and have another post coming out. There's some great information there for folks to stay connected with the forecast throughout the day today, especially with those updates from state police, IDOT, other emergency officials into the area as the conditions continue to deteriorate. I'm going to have another check the forecast coming up. Also a look at viewer pictures later on in the show. All
right, I'm sure more of those will start to roll in as things get a little bit worse. So
we'll have quite a bit coming in. So.
All righty, Jacob, thank you for all you and the weather team are doing. Now, as we talk about this winter storm, it's like deja vu for our public works crews, and they're still cleaning up after the aftermath of our last winter storm.
But luckily, Urbana Public Works is ready for more bad weather to head in. The Public Works Director says they have to wait until the rain stops or the salt won't work. Right when the rain turns to ice, they head out to lay down that salt, and it helps the snow and ice to melt. But if it gets too cold, the salt won't work as well, and they will have to use a solution over that. The director doesn't think they'll have to use that solution mix this time around, but his crews are ready for the hazardous weather.
We'll also be in very early to monitor that transition from when the rain turns to ice so that we can time it just right to get out there and get the treatment on the roads.
He went on to encourage drivers to be extremely careful driving today and says ice can cause problems with trees and power lines as well. We'll have more news and weather coming up right after this quick break. Make sure you stay with us for these updates.
Now, Central Illinois' most accurate forecast with meteorologist Jacob Dickey.
We're in the midst of our winter storm here in Central Illinois, and this is the look in Gibson City Decatur right now. And you'll see out there that near whiteout conditions, a lot of ice also sticking in the way. I can barely make out some features here, but it may be hard on the camera as well for you too. We continue to see the snow come down, and once it does, it will come down very heavy out there. We'll switch over to Springfield and show you there again near whiteout conditions across the region. We've been thinking that there could be the potential for some blizzard-like conditions, and that is in fact coming to reality here across the region. Snowfall rates of 1 to 2 inches an hour are occurring and have been measured by the National Weather Service. The camera in Gibson City does a good job showing the ice first, the snow now falling on top of that. That's why we're having problems with the slick roads out there. Further to the south, though, Mattoon, Charleston, not a whole lot happening there. Still rain, but there's a little bit, it looks like, of ice trying to develop on the lens there. It's a bit warm in that area for the ice to form yet. Not by much, though. Sitting at 33 right now in Mattoon, 35 in Effingham, it's 28 in Springfield, 27 in Bloomington. Where we see those 20s, solid snow. Where we see the middle 30s, it's a solid rain down by I-70. In the middle is where you have that wintry mix, and that includes a good chunk here from Danville towards Champaign, Monticello, Decatur, and to the south and west then towards Taylorville, Macoupin, and Montgomery counties. The snow at times is coming down heavy out there. We look here into the region, we've got our team out there right now monitoring things in the field, where this transition is setting up with the updates in the road. We're going to go now to meteorologist Jack Griffin in the storm tracker. We continue to see those conditions deteriorate. Jack, tell us more what you're seeing and what's going on.
Yeah, Jacob, things really have deteriorated very quickly. In fact, I'm at the Love's gas station in Leroy, and the reason why I got off the interstate was because I've got to, I got to bang off my wiper blades because they've iced over. We've got definitely blizzard-like conditions here. Visibility is way, way down, and when I was driving, I was also fighting a very stiff crosswind too. I'm going on westbound 74, so it actually kind of goes more northwest, and that northeast wind is just coming in just straight from the one side to the other side, and it's really just a very difficult travel day today because of that crosswind, combined with the fact that everything is now icing over very quickly. As I was getting off the interstate, I could feel underneath my tires that what was once wet pavement is now becoming icy. It's becoming harder and crunchy. That slush is now really starting to harden up, and it's now got a layer of snow on it. So in just a few moments here, I'm going to be shaking off my wiper blades. And what I'm going to do then is begin my trek back down towards the station, I'll be taking 74 eastbound, and then we'll be still out here in the storm tracker as much as we can safely be, just to make sure that we can provide you coverage with what is going on. But when it hits Champaign, guys, it is going to change very fast, and things have definitely deteriorated over a short amount of time and a short amount of distance in the storm tracker. Jacob, back to you.
All right, thanks, Jack. Stay safe out there. We know those road conditions continue to deteriorate. Ice and snow, the big problem today. And the wind also is a concern. You mentioned, Jack, talk about that crosswind. We've got winds out of the north here. They're sustained winds of 20 to 30 miles an hour. Some gusts likely higher, between 30 and 40. And that's really flirting with blizzard criteria here in central Illinois. Whether or not we make it, though, the impacts are going to be the same, and the impacts are showing some significant problems with those road conditions out there right now, as we're starting to see the snow in areas to the north and west towards I-55, the transition to ice here in Champaign-Urbana and points to the south and west as well. We've got Chief Meteorologist Kevin Leidy out there. Kevin, it looks like maybe you've got a little bit of ice that's starting to form here in town.
Yeah, we definitely have some ice already. Just take a look at this window on this van here. You can see just iced over. But as I mentioned before, okay, you can see the ice here. Well, I'm going to come over. The photographer's going to get a little bit of a shot. We're going to look at the hood here. What you're going to be able to notice are the ice pellets that are bouncing. The ice pellets, so we have switched over to sleet now. And so you can tell that just by looking at those sleet pellets bouncing off of the hood here. But I'm going to tell you the other way that I know that. Because with a 35-mile-per-hour wind, those ice pellets pelting you in the face feel like little needles. And we've got some sleet out here right now, as you can see. A little bit of ice that has already formed out here and will continue. But soon, this is going to transition over to snow like we've been talking about. I will tell you this, though, if you don't have to be out in this, stay home if you can, because conditions are about to go downhill pretty rapidly. But again, we've already got some ice out here. Soon we're going to see snow, and I got to tell you, the sleet pellets hitting you in the face Not a fun thing. All right, we're going to send it back to you for now, and I'm going to try to go inside.
Yeah, Kevin, we'll be sure and have someone unlock the door for you, and thanks for taking the lead and going outside, letting me stay in the warm studio here. We'll be sure and have more updates from the field as well coming out throughout the afternoon on social media and through the evening hours on the news at 5 and 6. In the meantime, those road conditions here with that ice starting to form, we'll see these conditions deteriorate pretty quickly out there, and that's going to be a concern for us here. Here's a view of some of those different problems we've been seeing here into the region. This is a look about a half an hour ago in Melvin. That is sleet. That sleet, as it lands on the ground, causes some significant problems. We've got more photos from Gibson City. You put sleet on the roadways, and that causes some significant icing out there before the snow comes. This, though, a look at some of the snow here up by Clifton in Iroquois County. They're reporting near blizzard conditions into the region. Also, the ice starting to accumulate here into the region with some of those ice continuing to see problems here in the area. Quick check at our snowfall numbers here. Again, we still are on pace for 4 to 8 inches here north of Interstate 74, 72. That is. We'll mention we may end on the lower side here in some of our areas. It's a range. That's the key, that continuing transition with lesser amounts to the south and east. We replace some of that here in the middle with sleet and ice, up to 1/10 to 2/10 expected here as we move on through. And so we're going to watch that here closely. Impacts, we continue to watch. The travel is going to be very much a concern for us. I do want to mention real quickly the flooding. Flood watch continues through this afternoon to the south and west, and those wind gusts are going to be a problem throughout the day today. That's going to bring some dangerous conditions for us here into the region as we watch and move on through. What we're going to do is take the 7-day forecast really quickly here and check that out and give you an update. There are some changes that are coming, and we'll be warming up after a bitter cold start on Friday morning. A lot to talk about. The 50s do return by next week. We'll be back after this. Lots of questions in the time. We didn't have time to talk much about it here. You can see on Future Track still have snow continuing. The good news is by this evening it's out of here. 7, 8 o'clock, the last of it on its way out the door. Do want to mention real quick before we go, wind chill values by the morning well below 0 out there. You do the math. We were in the 50s and even 60s in the area, down 10, 15 below. That's a 60 to 70 degree drop in what the air feels like.
Wow.
More details can be found in the Weather Now article, the Weather Now video, and the 7-day forecast on the website. Of course, we've got our Winter Weather Live blog. We'll be doing more updates on digital platforms throughout the afternoon and evening. A lot to cover, and we'll have more reports as well. Jack just sent us a text. He said, near blizzard conditions in Leroy right now.
Setting in there, and I'm sure it's going to be problematic at some point tomorrow morning as well, so you're going to want to be careful out in those roads tomorrow, but we'll continue to keep you updated, so make sure you download that WCIA 3 weather app.
Make sure you stay home and stay safe if you don't have to go out, and we'll see you again at 5.